Hey guys, my name is Rachel and welcome back to Auxhart Gardening. Today is seed starting day. So this is not a how to start seeds video. If you're looking for something like that, I posted a few days ago a video about 5 mistakes that I have personally made starting seeds that I don't want you to have to make to figure it out. I figured it out the hard way for you. But today I'm just starting seeds. I wanted to share with you guys which varieties I'm starting, and just generally hang out and chat while I get these seeds in the ground. If you haven't seen yet, check out this cool seed storage thing I've got. I think it's originally meant for like photos because it's a box full of smaller boxes. And a viewer actually got this for me for Christmas, which was super sweet. I definitely needed this because I was previously using a cardboard box. But anyway, I first want to show you guys the 2 types of tomatoes I'm growing this year. Yes, it's only 2. That's because I have found out that I am in the unfortunate group of people who doesn't like raw tomatoes. I mean, they're okay, but since I have such limited gardening space, it's really not worth it for me to grow something that I don't really like that much. So I'm dedicating all my tomatoes this year to sauce type tomatoes. I also make salsa, but sauce tomatoes will work fine for that, and I will have plenty of tomatoes for sauce. Doing 2 varieties. I'm doing Amish paste, which I did last year, and the San Marzano Lungo number 2. This is a new variety for me this year, but I've heard good things about it, and so we'll be trying those out. I am also growing a 3rd type of tomato. I'm growing the orange hat tomato. It's a micro dwarf, so you can see in this picture it only ever gets that big, and then it sets fruit. It's a determinate, and I think it's cute, so I'm going to grow it on my windowsill in my kitchen this year, just so I have a collection of pretty things to look at. I'm also putting my single seed challenge in a tiny pot on a windowsill this year. If you guys haven't seen the single seed challenge, by the way, go back, watch that video. This is my 2nd year doing it. It's really awesome. It's all about appreciating the power within a single seed. So that's really cool. You can go check that out later. I might even link it up here somewhere for you to watch, but don't leave me. So that's what I'm doing with tomatoes. Not too much going on there. However, today I am starting peppers. Oh, and did I mention I already started my tomatoes? They are here. So I started them, this is all of them, in this little pot. I found that tomatoes will pull apart pretty easily as seedlings, and so my plan is to have them all sprout up, grow a few true leaves here, and then I'll separate them out into like their own individual pot. And that saves me room. That helps me fit everything on my heat mat as everything is germinating. But alright, so peppers. So this year I'm growing 6 types of sweet peppers. The first one is this Crayola pepper. First of all, that twist is really gorgeous, and second of all, this pepper is native to Nicaragua, which my good friend, her fiance, who's also my good friend, he is from Nicaragua, and I saw that and I was like, that'd be really cool to grow. This is my 2nd year trying it. Last year I had an issue with my peppers where I got overexcited. I put them out in April and it got just like a little too cold for them. They're okay. They were okay all season, but they were stunted. And so many of them, including the Crayolas, did not produce fruit until the very end of the season, and only a little bit at that. I don't think I even got a ripened Crayola. This one was the most stunted out of all of them. So I'm just gonna do 2 seeds per cell, especially since peppers don't germinate quite as well for me. Just do 2, and I'm doing 1 set of 6 cells for each of my sweet peppers this year. I probably don't need that many plants. I probably don't need 6. But this year I am planning on selling plant starts at the farmer's market. I haven't told anybody that yet. But it's not really something I'm doing because I want to make money. It's something I'm doing because I want to experience the farmer's market, and I'm not really going to grow enough produce to be able to sell at the farmer's market. So this is something I can sell, and a way that I can meet other vendors, at farmers, and make connections with people in the community. Okay, the next sweet pepper I'm starting is the Lasa. This is one of my favorite peppers, even though I only grew it for the first time last year. It is this beautiful heart-shaped red pepper with a thick flesh, so it's pretty productive for the size of the peppers, and it's just beautiful. So I'm growing it again. I'm going to plant half of it with seeds from this packet, and then I also saved my own seeds from it last year, and I actually haven't checked these for germination, which is bad. When you save your own seeds, you should always check for germination. But we're going to check now. I'm going to plant half from the pack and half from here. And these were low germination seeds as it is, which is why I'm kind of going to double down and try different seeds. Additionally, all the seeds that I saved this year were from unprotected blossoms. And all that means is that they might have been crossed. Chances are good that they were crossed with another sweet pepper and not a spicy pepper, because maybe you've heard that spicy genes override sweet genes, and that's why you want to grow your sweet and your spicy peppers kind of far apart. And it's not that it'll affect it this year when you're growing it, it's that if you save the seeds from those sweet peppers and you didn't protect the blossoms, if they cross-pollinate with a spicy, then you'll probably end up with that new plant from the seed you saved growing a pepper that maybe looks like the sweet pepper but is actually spicy. So something to keep in mind. But all my sweet peppers, so I intended to grow all my sweet peppers in the larger bed away from the hot peppers that I grew in containers in my yard. So there was like 100 feet and a fence between them. But I made a mistake, and one of the varieties that I thought was sweet was actually spicy that went out in the big bed. So there's a chance that these ones that I saved are going to be spicy. So something to keep in mind. But I'm going to plant them anyway, and see what happens, because I like experimenting like that. I'm just going to put 3 of each of these in here, just because I have no idea what the germination rate is supposed to be. Alright, sweet pepper number 3 is the Etioda. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I keep trying to say Etioda, but it's Etioda. So it's this beautiful orange bell pepper type. It says, a tasty Polish commercial variety. Sugary sweet when ripe, blocky, thick-walled orange fruit is crisp and juicy, reaching half a pound. The fact that it's Polish caught my eye because my mom's entire family is Polish, so that makes me half Polish. But also, I think sugary sweet and thick-walled are important to me in peppers, because last year I grew this Zulu pepper, and it's this gorgeous eggplant color. It came out as described, but it was small, and it was so thin-walled that it felt like it wasn't even worth it for me, because most of the pepper use that I do is in stuff like fajitas and like chopping and cooking peppers. And so in order to like cut up all these Zulu peppers and use them, it felt like more labor than it was worth. and they weren't sweet enough to just snack on either. So that being said, we're gonna plant this orange one and see if that does any better for us. Even though I know every seed won't germinate, I still feel bad putting more than one seed in a cell because I know I'll have to thin them out. And I was watching a channel, Veronica Flores, and she talks a lot about how special seeds are and how gardeners don't treat them with a lot of respect. We're just sowing willy-nilly and then we are thinning willy-nilly, and you know, every seed is precious and she doesn't like to waste them. However, I know every seed won't germinate and I only have 2 in a cell, so we're just covering our bases here, and if I can separate out double seedlings I will, and that'll just give me more to sell at the farmer's market. But yeah, I feel a little bad. Alright, next I'm planting this Edvarsky pepper. I planted this last year, and again, I didn't get a good ripe one until near the end of the season, but when I did, it was great. Again, this is thick-walled, it's a fairly large pepper, and that's what I need in my garden. So we are planting this one again. I also, I'm just about out of seeds. I need to save some this year. I also brought one of these in. This is the only sweet pepper I brought in because, like I said, all my sweet peppers were out in the big garden. So I actually dug up one of my Edvarsky peppers and brought it inside, and it's sitting somewhere behind me. This one is a Tabasco. The Edvarsky is up on the shelf over there, but it's doing okay. It's surviving, shall we say. Whereas the Tabasco is actually flourishing. I don't even have enough to do 2 in each cell, so we're going to do 1 in 2 of them. That's disappointing. I should have thought about this and bought more. Hopefully these sprout, and I have to put that high on my list to save seeds from this year. Because really I don't want to go buying seeds every year. I'd really like to be kind of more sustainable than that. And saving your own pepper seeds and tomato seeds and stuff like that is very easy. Stuff more like carrots, onions, I might always be buying those seeds. We'll see. I'll need a bigger operation if I want to have room to grow carrots and onions all the way out for seeds. Alright, my last sweet pepper is banana pepper. I saved these seeds from my neighbor's banana peppers the first year I started gardening, and they were inspired by me starting the smaller bed that's over down near my apartment. And then halfway through the summer, they started having issues, I guess, as a couple. They were going away a lot. I was watching their garden. That garden kind of became my garden. And so I saved the seeds from this banana pepper. I think they just got it from the store as a start. It was incredibly productive and nice. And so I saved some seeds. I'm going to replant. Again, I didn't cover the blossoms, so there's a good chance this is going to end up being a spicy pepper because it was right next to some habaneros and some jalapenos. But we will see what happens. Gardening is all about experimentation. Anybody who tells you that there's like a hard and fast rule of you must do this or nothing will work is wrong. Unless they're telling you you have to water your plants and give them sunlight, at which point they are right. That is a rule. Plants need water and sunlight to grow. But in general, if they're telling you you have to plant this here, you have to plant these things together, you can never plant those things together, you can't plant this thing at this time of year, I challenge you to challenge those rules and see what you can do, see what you can make of your garden. Because life has a way of being unpredictable. I used to work in a biophysics lab, and we're working with algae and proteins and stuff, and you could do the exact same experiment, the exact same way many times in a row, and you wouldn't get the exact same results every time, and that's just the way life works. Okay, so we're moving on to the hot peppers. I'm just going to go through all the ones that I'm planting because there's a lot. And because I'm planting so many hot peppers, I'm only planting half as many cells for each of them. So I was previously planting 6 cells for the sweet peppers. I'm only planting 3 cells for the hot peppers. I'm doing the fish pepper. It's a variegated pepper. I got this in a seed exchange, and I'm super excited to try it out, mostly because it's pretty. I'm going to be growing the banana pino pepper. This is from the Experimental Farm Network. If you haven't heard of them, you should go check them out. They're doing a lot of, experimental stuff. This particular pepper, it says on the package, large, brownish, hot pepper derived from a cross between a jalapeno and a sweet banana pepper, from breeder Kevin Bain. And the reason I got this particular pepper is because it was developed in South Carolina, and I'm in South Carolina, and that means that it will be especially suited to growing here, and I think that that's really neat. I also like supporting the Experimental Farm Network and the work that they do by buying seeds from them, so that's another reason that I have these seeds. I'm also going to be growing paprika peppers this year. I'm hoping to kind of smoke some, dry some, and grind them into spice. Another first time pepper for me this year is the Big Jim. It is the world record largest chili pepper variety. Mammoth pods reach 1 foot in length. Wow. So I'm really excited for stuffing and roasting this pepper. I'm probably going to stuff it with cheese and bread it and fry it. Another first year pepper for me, shishito. This is a pepper that everybody that grows peppers raves about, so I figured I had to try it. From last year, I'm growing again the buena mulata. This pepper starts out purple and then it ripens to orange and eventually like a brown and then a red. So not only is it gorgeous, it is like easy to choose your level of spice. So as it goes through the ripening process, it gets spicier. So it's a very versatile pepper. I'm growing Tabasco peppers so I can make more Tabasco sauce. I'm growing regular old cayenne peppers so I can make more cayenne powder this year. Craig's Grande jalapeno. I like to pickle jalapenos, and there's a recipe that I make all the time that specifically uses pickled jalapenos, so that works out really well. And then I'm growing serrano peppers because this is my preferred salsa pepper. If you didn't already know how to determine how deep to plant your seeds, there's a cute little trick I can teach you. So if you look at the seed, right, it has a size, and to plant the seed at the proper depth, all you have to do is plant it twice as deep as the seed is big. So that means when you're working with really tiny seeds, you are putting them really close to the surface. And when you're working with bigger seeds, think like your beans and your peas, then you're pushing them a little bit further down. And the reason for that is that if you put a small seed too far down, it won't have enough energy to push itself all the way up out of the soil to where it can get light. Because seeds are energy storage units, basically. And the bigger the seed, the more energy it has to push itself up through the soil. Additionally, the bigger the seed, the more room you're going to want to give it for a root system. So we plant beans a little deeper because they're going to send out a bigger root faster. And so they can not only stand to be planted deeper, but prefer to be planted a little deeper. I just thought of a question for y'all. What do you do to reseal your seed packets? I've been relying on the existing goo to hold them together, and I've had a couple of seed packets spill everywhere, just like as I'm moving them around inside this box. And I don't necessarily want to like fully tape them closed, because then they're like really hard to get into again and you're like ripping up the paper packaging, and I don't want to go and put them in plastic baggies every time because I feel like that's a little wasteful. So if you guys have figured out any good ways of sealing up your seed packets so that they're easy to reopen but still stay closed, you should let me know. Whew. That is a lot of work. Um, you'll notice that I'm like poking holes with my finger and then like gently covering up each little hole. If you're doing larger batches, what I recommend is like, what is the word I'm looking for? Putting extra soil on top instead of trying to cover each little hole individually. That works just fine. I'm not doing that many, so I can afford to gently cover each and every little hole and take care with it. But if I was doing a lot more, then I would probably try and speed it up. Tray 1 is done. I'm going to move on to tray 2. So I've already made all the labels for this. Just have to fill in the seeds. This is going to be all of my herbs. I got a couple extra peppers in here that I wanted to plant. I have flowers and I have some tomatoes that I'm planting to sell at the farmer's market. So let's do the 2 peppers first. These 2, I decided late that I wanted to plant them. They are from Seed Exchange. One of them is a pumpkin pepper and one of them is an Oda pepper. And I don't really know what to expect out of these, but we will just see. I looked them up online. Pretty sure they're spicy peppers. I think the pumpkin pepper, I think it's supposed to be like little small pumpkin shaped spicy peppers is what I understand. So that'll be pretty neat to grow, I think. If nothing else, it will be cute. And we all need a little bit of beauty in our garden, don't we? Alright, so we're moving on to eggplant. This is my first year trying eggplant, so I'm just doing 2 varieties. I'm doing the Nagasaki Long and the Antigua. And I chose these because they're small. In my experience, the big eggplant from the store, the skin is just too tough once you've cooked it, so you either have to peel it or chew through the tough skin. And with smaller eggplants that I used to get at the crop share that I used to be a part of, they looked a lot like this Antigua. They called them fairy eggplants. And they were just so tender and so delicious. So I'm going to try growing these smaller eggplants and see how that goes. Just like with the peppers, I'm just going to do 2 seeds in each cell because I don't really know any better. I've never grown eggplant before. I actually don't know if I'd be able to separate them out. If I have multiple sprouting in a cell, then I'll have to ask Google whether or not they'll separate out well or not. Or I can ask you, have you separated out eggplant? Do they do okay? Let me know in the comments. Alright, so next I'm going to talk about the herbs that I'm starting. Currently outside I have parsley, rosemary, thyme, oregano, dill, and cilantro. Cilantro will die in the summer. It'll bolt and it'll die. The rest of them should thrive in the summer. Oh, and I have spearmint out there too. So all of those should do great in the summer. My stevia didn't make it over winter, so I'm going to be replanting my stevia. And then I have a few new herbs that I'm planting. I'm going to plant some marshmallow. This is an interesting one. If you didn't know, marshmallows currently made with gelatin, but they used to be kind of gelled together with actual marshmallow root powder, which is something I find very interesting. And I've heard that marshmallow root is pretty medicinal as well, so I think that would be a cool thing to try out. I'm going to be planting catnip for the cats. I am planting lavender. Last year, I was so upset because I bought a lavender start from the store and I put it near where the rosemary is now out front. And the landlord's nephew came by to mulch that front bed that was like there when I got here, and he just mulched over all my plants that I'd put out there. The rosemary was tough and it survived, but the lavender just died, and I was so upset. So anyways, this year, starting lavender, I'm going with English tall, and I'm also starting German chamomile. I do like to have chamomile tea at night, and I think it would be really neat to be able to get my own chamomile. These stevia seeds are absolutely tiny, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of put them on top of the soil and press them in and hope that they don't stick to my fingers as I'm doing that. The marshmallow seeds are the biggest of the bunch. All these seeds have been itty bitty. Marshmallow is like about the same size as a tomato seed. I'm actually planting an entire 6 cells of the marshmallow because I really want a marshmallow plant. And I might even keep one in a pot to take with me when I eventually leave this apartment, which I don't think I've mentioned on camera yet, but I'm planning on moving this summer to a rental house that I have not picked yet. So hopefully I can have a yard to actually garden in. Next, I am planting a few marigolds. I'm going to plant an entire 6 cells of each type. I have the orange Hawaii marigold, the Eskimo marigold, and then I have seeds saved from when I planted just a bunch of mixed marigolds out on that hill. They did really well, so I saved a lot of seeds, and we're going to get some random marigolds from that. Marigolds, if you don't know, are an extremely valuable flower to have in your garden. They are great for pollinators, and they also tend to attract a lot of beneficial insects. Marigolds have also been said to deter certain pests, so they'll attract beneficial insects and then they'll deter things. Some people say they deter deer. I haven't looked up the entire list of things they deter. I just started planting them because they're easy to grow and they are good for the garden. Okay, and lastly today I am planting the tomatoes for the farmer's market, and I chose some kind of flashy varieties because I figure that people want stuff that they can't get anywhere else when they're coming to a farmer's market. So I'm going to start some Lucid Gem tomatoes, some topaz, I'm going to start more of those orange hats, the Cherokee purple, and the Hungarian heart. There was something interesting I just remembered I wanted to share with you. I learned recently that my local library has a seed bank, and anybody who has a library card can come in and get a few packets of seeds, like absolutely free. I would imagine that probably other libraries do this. So if you're looking for seeds still, I know it's been a little hard to order seeds. You might try checking your local library. Alrighty, this one is done. It goes on the shelf. And something you'll notice is that I don't have heat mats under these. Because of the containers that I'm using, I just am using regular old storage containers you can buy at Walmart. Because of the way they're shaped, they have this ridge along the bottom, and so the middle is lifted up. And I don't think it would make contact with a heat mat anyway. So I have a space heater running in my room, and it's keeping it at about 75, 76 in here, which is an okay seed starting temperature. So I think that my seeds will be all right. And that's all I have for you guys today. Maybe there'll be an update when all these seedlings start to come up. But until then, this is where I leave you. I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day. And until next time, I wish you all happy gardening.